Every month, inTV reaches hundreds of millions of consumers across the globe, providing trusted content covering news, business, sports, and culture. And I think for brand marketeers, inTV networks especially, enable advertisers to connect with upscale global audiences in a really trusted TV and digital environment. Okay, are we all right? So the structure of the presentation tells a story. It's really more like I think, a factual documentary. And it starts with the rekindled interest in trust and also the importance of trust, and also how inTV brands are really well positioned in their delivery of trusted values. We'll then move on to quantify the inTV audience and also explore the quality of inTV consumers versus non-consumers. We'll then look at the types of brands or advertisers partnering with inTV networks and the importance of trusted environments again. And then finally, we'll wrap up looking at the benefits of advertising with inTV brands and any action taken as a result of partnering with those networks. Okay, so turning on to the main deck, trust and transparency seems to be dominating conversations throughout the industry at the moment. We've seen the rise of fake news this year, the increase in the volume of untrusted and sensationalist content that's been pushed out through social media. So it's not really surprising that consumers are becoming more selective about where they get their information. And at the same time, advertisers are also becoming more selective, particularly about the media brands that they decide to partner with. We've got issues around supply chain transparency, fraudulent traffic, and brand safety. And all these things really point to the ever-increasing importance of trust. And it's simple, really. I mean, brands that want their ads to run against content that is respected and I think trusted, they just want to associate with brands that have these values, which I think is good news for TV in particular. And this really lends itself especially to quality and respected brands like the inTV network. So I just want to talk a little bit more about brand safety before we move on. So the issues about brand safety often point towards programmatic, and particularly in the open marketplace. Some brands are seeing their ads appearing on fake news sites or placed in or next to extremist content. So it's not really surprising that brands are starting to demand just more control over where their ads are being seen. And I think until this is fixed, or at least improved, many advertisers are even now are starting to reduce their digital investments and look for alternatives. And what we're seeing is a definite flight to quality. So this trend really presents, I think, an opportunity for TV. It offers brands the ability to align their ads with content and environment of choice. And on balance, TV is just a safer haven for brands. So a key priority for advertisers right now is to create a positive brand association with the right audience around the right context in a trusted environment. And inTV definitely delivers trust. 83% of affluent Europeans, this is taken from the Ipsos survey, consider inTV brands to be trustworthy. And this is where scores are 5 or more out of 7 for the attribute of trust. And furthermore, 78% consider them to be impartial or unbiased. So I think this is really a significant message for advertisers looking to align their brands with trusted media partners. And there's other studies out there as well that really endorse the importance of trusted environments, including studies that I've seen from Reuters, from BBC, and also the University of Missouri. So, the value of trust and engaging and advertising in trusted environments is absolutely crucial. And when comparing brand sentiments of inTV against national brands, and this time we're looking at profile data, and those scoring 6 or 7 out of 7, inTV brands really have quite a significant advantage, scoring plus 40% or more compared to national TV channels for all of the attributes measured on the Ipsos survey. And these include, which I've shown here, impartial, high quality, informative, and trustworthy. And on the right-hand side there in the black circles, that is the INT advantage versus national channels. Okay, so selecting media brands with attractive values and trusted environments is becoming even more important. And we all know that inTV prides itself in delivering quality audiences. And when we look at C-level execs and also high income earners, the perceived values of inTV brands are enhanced even more. I think this is because there's just so much instant information out there, so much clutter, and so many media choices that these time-squeezed people really need to make considered choices about the media brands that they're going to be turning to and connecting with. And it's really the media networks that offer impartial content in a trusted context that are going to be the most attractive to senior, affluent, and educated consumers. inTV brands also project influence. We've seen evidence that they can move markets, they can change perceptions, and also drive agendas. But I think most importantly, as one inTV CEO viewer put it in a recent focus group, they have this real privileged ability to talk truth to power. Okay, so on the theme of, or staying on the theme of quality audiences, when we compare the profiles of inTV versus non-inTV viewers, we know really that they're much more senior, they're more upscale across a whole range of quality targets. In this case, we're covering C-suite through to high income earners, owners of luxury goods, and also frequent flyers. And generally, the more upscale you go, the more likely it is that the audience will engage with inTV brands. And this is really in the knowledge that the content is trusted and reliable, which appeals to this senior level audience. And again, if you look at the black circles on the right-hand side of the chart here, all of the targets shown here register an index of at least plus 50% higher for inTV compared to their national counterparts. So again, it's just the story here is all about quality and influence. So we've seen how inTV can deliver trust, affluence, and influence. But what about scale? I think that low reach is often seen as an objection for international media. But this data taken from GWI really dispels that myth, with 233 million Europeans claiming to watch inTV content via TV or digital every single month. And just to put that in context, I mean, that's actually bigger than the entire populations of the UK, Germany, and France combined. So these are big numbers here. And furthermore, inTV also reaches 75% of all affluent Europeans. So that really ties into the point I made earlier on, that penetrations increase and interest increases among upscale and influential audiences. And among high income earners, in this case, we're taking 225,000 or more income earners. Monthly cross-platform reach increases further from 75%, which we've already seen, up to 86%. And this also grows to 87% among high-end watch owners. So really big penetrations and big reach among audiences that matter. There's a similar story for the influential as well, where inTV monthly reach is 86% for C-suite execs, and this increases to 9 in 10 among those responsible for €5 million budgets or more. So really what we're seeing here is an opportunity for advertisers to engage with high-level consumers efficiently, but in a trusted and respected environment. And reaching high-profile audiences with scale and efficiency in a safer brand context has got to be pretty appealing for many advertisers. And inTV attracts a wide array of well-known brands, from financial service providers through to management consultants, car brands, airlines. And here's just a few of the brands that we've seen on inTV TV networks so far this year. And there's clearly a natural fit between inTV audiences and the advertisers that they attract. And this chart shows that inTV viewers are more engaged with these brands or some of the brands that I've selected than non-inTV viewers. There's much greater indices for brand consideration, purchase, and recommendation. And in this chart, in particular, it's showing that Rolex on the left-hand side, which actually is a really long-established inTV advertiser, shows the greatest inTV advantage versus non-users. And importantly, for consumers who use or own these brands, trust in inTV brands is even higher than the European average. If you remember, the average was 83% among the whole of the survey universe. But 88% of all Rolex owners consider inTV brands to be trustworthy. So this really confirms the value of connecting the right advertisers with the right audiences, but in the right environment. Okay, so what does this all mean, and what really happens when you bring these brands and inTV audiences together? There's 4 main points to make here. Firstly, the benefits of partnering with inTV stretch way beyond the screen, and apparently communicating via speech is making a bit of a comeback right now. And inTV did some research about 2 years ago called Harnessing the Power of Conversation, and it shows that every single inTV viewer has over 150 conversations specifically about brands that they've seen on inTV networks over the course of a year. This is 44% higher than non-inTV viewers, and also represents an impressive 1 brand conversation every 2 days. And these discussions cover a whole range of different verticals, from finance through to technology, cars, travel, airlines, and luxury goods. Okay, so secondly, we've already seen that inTV brands score more highly than nationals for trust, impartiality, and quality. But when we asked viewers about advertising, opinions about advertising were also more positive for inTV networks versus national channels. And I think one of the most difficult challenges for any advertiser really is to grab that initial attention, and then once you've grabbed it, you need to retain it. And results from inTV's project engagement show that almost 1/3 of inTV viewers say that they never switch channels during ad breaks. And this compares to only 20% for viewers of national networks. So this is a plus 60% advantage for inTV over nationals, which is shown on the right-hand side. In addition to that, inTV consumers are also more likely to pay attention to the ads, which obviously is important on inTV as compared to those carried on nationals. And in this case, it registers a 41% advantage, again shown on the right-hand side, compared to national channels. And thirdly, the ultimate goal, I think, for any advertising campaign is to really convert consumers to purchase. That's the holy grail, if you like. And Harnessing the Power of Conversation also shows that inTV channels, shown on the left-hand side, can really help advertisers build awareness, encourage consideration, and then ultimately drive purchase. And they have greater influence through the whole purchase funnel than national channels. So you can see that from the numbers for awareness, consideration, and purchase when you look at non-inTV on the right compared to inTV. And the highlight for me is really shown at the bottom right-hand side, where inTV is 67% higher for nationals, or compared to nationals, for encouraging brand choice. So inTV networks really do encourage that consideration and encourage consumers ultimately to make that purchase. So finally, does advertising with inTV networks actually lead to action? Again, results from project engagement show that 9 in 10 inTV viewers take some kind of action as a result of seeing content on inTV, and an impressive 4 in 10 actually claim to go on and make a purchase. So I think this is really true testament that partnering with inTV can potentially influence action and really drive sales. Okay, so to wrap up, so we've seen that there's obviously a growing appetite for brands to advertising in trusted environments based on everything that's going on in the industry at the moment. And all the evidence confirms a perception of trust and excellence for inTV brands. We've also dispelled any myth of low reach today, with 75% of affluent Europeans consuming inTV brands at least once a month. And this increases significantly among upscale targets, reaching over 90% in some cases. We all know that inTV delivers high profile, and this in turn attracts quality advertisers. But in this presentation, what we've seen is a very direct relationship between inTV consumers and the advertisers that partner with inTV. And this is really shown by the high indices for brand ownership, use, and recommendation for inTV viewers. And then towards the end, we saw that inTV reach extends beyond the screen, with each inTV viewer engaging in 150 conversations a year about brands seen on inTV networks. In addition, 9 in 10 have taken action as a result of seeing inTV content, with that impressive 4 in 10 claiming to make some kind of purchase as a result. So inTV is clearly an attractive and actionable portfolio of choice. And this is the factual documentary of the benefits of the inTV network. Thank you.
Great. So I'd like to thank Mike very much for his presentation. I believe quite a few people have had some technical issues in joining the webinar today, but we have videoed the webinar and we are going to make it available on the website shortly, hopefully early next week. But in the meantime, does anybody have any burning questions about any of the data included? If not, do please feel free to email questions in. If you send them to Joe Walters, who sent out the original email, we will collate them and respond to you. There is, so I think, oh, there's a question come through. The question is, do you plan to do a roadshow and present to agencies those results? That is something that we have discussed, and I think what would be useful would be feedback from you. If you feel that it would be useful for us to do that, then we would plan to do so later this year. So if you could feedback to us about how useful you found it, we will look into it. So thank you very much. Okay, that's great. We're getting some good feedback, people saying that they have found this useful, which is really good to hear. So thank you everybody who's been on the webinar, and we will follow up with all of you very shortly. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.